So I am getting ready to eat some spaghetti that I just made, but I just had a really good session with the client um, that I haven't seen for a while. And I feel like the universe is just great at giving us the message that we need to hear when we need to hear it. And it's just, yeah. And so I don't know, we were kind of, I don't even know how it came up. We were talking about parents and stuff like that. And he was asking if my parents live close. And yeah, I do feel like we talked about this because I thought his dad owned the flower shop, Arrowhead Flowers in Peoria. I'm gonna have to ask him. Maybe they moved back to Michigan, because his mom lives in Michigan. Um, so he was asking if my parents live close, and I was saying that they live up in Peoria, but that I haven't talked to them since Christmas, and I told them why about my dad getting in my face and yelling, and like just me kind of being like, no more, like, and it was just this really good reminder. He's my client's 28, and I think me being an empath, I'm more sensitive to stuff. I am. Um, and it's fascinating because I didn't even really know that you could be sensitive without being an empath, learning that it's kind of like a scale, from Anita Morjani. And I don't know if she talks about that more, or if she will talk about it more. I'm listening to her book, Sensitive is the New Strong, and I've fallen asleep a couple times listening to it. So I'm kind of jumping around all over the place. And I feel like I hear the part in her book that I'm supposed to hear at just exactly that moment, like all the financial stuff, and just really helping me see like why I'm experiencing the money blocks. The universe was like, here you go, here's the answer. It's because you're not on here speaking your truth, doing what you love to do, having mentally stimulating conversations, and spreading the knowledge that you came back with from your NDE. So, and as I do more videos, I'm rewarded with more financial abundance. Yes, hi, good morning, beautiful. Hi. She is waking up. She'll probably want to share my food here with me. But anyways, so I was talking about that and my dad, and he goes, my client goes, well, you just got to remember that's a generational thing. It's just the way it was. And it was the first time, it was like hearing my own advice out of the mouth of somebody else. It's so true. Everything just is. That's just the way it was. And it's true. That the yelling, the spanking, the whipping, the that's just the way it was for that generation. It really, really was. It was a generational thing. Granted, yes, it's still a thing um in households, but there's a lot more households now where it's not a thing. But it was that reminding me that I am carrying my own judgment against my dad, my own trauma still against my dad. And it's just the way it was. It's just the way he was raised. He was raised where his mom hit him. At least he didn't hit me, like that was a little bit less. Hi. Hi, sweetie. She says, good morning. She loves seeing herself on these videos. ADD moment. My personal training session with Trevor yesterday, which was great. I am so sore from it. My legs are sore. We did leg press and we really, really upped the weight. And damn, did it feel good. And damn, am I sore today? And it feels amazing. Like, I tried to squat down earlier to wash off one of her cloth diapers, and I was like, why? Why? My legs cannot do this right now. No. um, he was saying, maybe Lily is meant to be in these videos because then you'll get to see over time her growth. And maybe that's part of the journey that y'all are going to go on with me is watching my kids grow. And yes, I have a lot of opinions about children and raising children, and Lord knows I'm learning as I go and just try not to fuck them up, right? But you know what? They'll be fine. Kids are resilient. I'm 38 and I somehow made it through what I went through, and and that was it. That was the reminder from my client. It was just so good. He was like, you just got to remember, that's just the way it was. That's just the way it was for that generation. His dad yells at him, yelled at him, yells at him. And he said, my dad still yells at me. He's like, and I'm 28. He's like, and my dad is shorter than me. He's smaller than me. And I'm still scared of him. Now, do I believe that we should be afraid of our parents? No, of course not. That goes against like everything in my soul. But it was that reminder of that's the way it was. That's the way it is. And it was like he just said it without any judgment against his dad, without any, like, even now, just no judgment against his dad, even now, his dad yelling at him. And it's obvious to me that that's not like a sensitive person, right? Because they're not as affected by their dad's yelling as I am. And I'm realizing, like that's probably the case then. If he's 28 and it just does not affect him in the same manner that it did with me. And especially being an empath, Lord knows I feel what other people are feeling, and I sometimes take on or transmute what other people are feeling. So like in Swim Kids that day with the mom and her son, Lord knows she was just standing there like hands on her hips across the bathroom from her son, and she was like, get over here right now. I could literally feel, and for all you empaths, sensitives, you know what I'm talking about. I could feel the anger radiating off of this woman. I could legit feel it. And I don't even know how to describe that. I could feel it. And some people could probably walk by her and be just fine. Completely and totally unaffected by it. And that's what it's a gift, right? It is. It's one of my gifts because I have it. And we are all born with natural, like God-given gifts. So, obviously I'm like, her kid doesn't want to come to her. Like, ooh, like I can feel the anger radiating from her. Of course that child does not want to come to her. I'm scared of her, and I'm not that child. And then as she started yelling at her son and just word vomiting everything, right? Like you could tell she was very triggered, falling into patterns, programming. You could tell she was not necessarily conscious. I pay for these classes for you and they're so expensive and this is how you act, and just wait till we get home and you're just wait till we get home and dad deals with you. And I was just like, and that was another thing that Mo said too. Is that something that he grew up hearing? And I didn't even say that, which was funny. Because he goes, oh yeah, he was like all the time, like you'd hear, well, just wait till dad gets a hold of you. Just wait till your dad gets home. And I was just like, so fascinating. And for him, he's just not even fazed by it. He's just like, yep, that's the way it was. Versus me in that other situation, being an empath, I actually could feel / took on the feelings of the child. So I did not take on the feelings of anger from the mom. I've never had explosive rage against a child. Like, have I gotten upset and triggered? Yes. Have I ever like yelled like that mom? No. So I could not relate to her, but what I related to was that child. And I was brushing my daughter's hair. I froze. I wanted to start crying. I held it in, and that night my middle finger broke out with psoriasis. I think it was literally because I held in those tears. I think, and I worked on this one with my therapist of I took on the child's feelings. I could relate to the child. I could literally feel how scared he was, because that's what I related to with me being a child, and I was being shown this. And so, like I was talking about, cyclical challenges, and we are presented with these things. And there was a reason I was being presented with it. And I am conscious, so I am aware that there's a reason why I saw the daughter next door get yelled at by the grandma. There's a reason why I was there, why this child was getting yelled at by his mom. What is that reason? And so I think I talked about this one, working through that. It was because I wanted to then decide, how do I want to react? Because I obviously don't want to freeze in those moments. Like, Lord knows that was not good. Traumatizing, it was my trauma bubbling back up for me to work on. And so I was like, I would like to offer to go up to that mom and say, hey, is there something I can help you with? Or maybe can I give you a hug? Just show her some compassion. Maybe help get her out of fight or flight. Show her some compassion in a really hard moment for her. And then it was funny because then I ended up being in the locker room again with that same woman with my daughter after swim class. And I didn't realize it in the moment until like later. But my daughter goes, Mommy, that's the same mom who yelled at her kid. And I was like, oh, it is. And I still could have gone up to her in that moment and be like, hey, I know you were having a really hard day. Like, it seemed to me like you were having a really hard day. Like, I'm sorry, like, being a mom can be hard sometimes. Just showing her some compassion I could have done. And I still did not do it in that moment because I still kind of froze. She wasn't even yelling at her kid, but you could tell she was annoyed, Like, so she just must really be having a hard time. Maybe it would be nice if someone would show her some love herself. And so even then, it was like, that didn't dawn on me until like the next day. And I was like, oh, darn it. Okay. But I'm getting there, right? Like, same thing. Like, somebody asks me what breed my dog is, and I want to say Woofadoodle. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, that's great. I'm going to say that next time somebody asks. Somebody asks me what my dog is, and I'm like, oh, miniature Irish Wolfhound. And I'm like, that is not what you wanted to say at all. And then I got the opportunity again, right? Somebody else asked me, and I got to say, oh, he's a Woofadoodle. And the guy was so cute. He's like, Woofy Doodle? And I was like, yeah, like, it's a combination of an Irish Wolfhound and a poodle. I have no fucking clue, but it's great to say. It's so much fun to say. And I'll post a video here for you guys to see my Woofadoodle and how prancy he is. But it's giving me the chance to find myself and my soul and just understand that was my dad. That was his childhood. That's how he was raised. And that's what he carried on. And that's what my mom chose to take on. And I chose to come here, and I chose them as my parents, right? Like, I knew what it was going to be like. And I knew I could do it, and I knew I could be the change, and I knew I could do something differently and show the world that it doesn't have to be that way. We don't have to be angry. We don't have to live in fight or flight. We don't have to live in fear. We can have a more elevated, loving experience here in our earthly time. But it was just such a good reminder to hear from my client. That's just the way it was. And I'm like, God, that is exactly what I say. But because I'm so sensitive, I take it on and I take it personally. And it was just such a good reminder of being like, right, that's just the way it was with my dad. That's just the way he is. And now that being said, do I have the desire to call and talk to my dad? No. Does talking to my dad bring me joy? No. Not in this moment, it doesn't. So do I plan on doing it? No. Like, I don't have good conversations with my dad. They're not mentally stimulating for me. I guess they're kind of mentally stimulating for me when he sits there and talks about, being afraid that not using his free hotel night because they're afraid that somebody's going to steal the catalytic converter out of their car. So I guess that is good because then it like gives me something to talk about on here. And I was going to say gives me some ammo to talk about on here, and that's another ADD moment. I'm getting so many signs to pull the trigger and go to Kauai, and I got to share that with y'all because it's just funny the way the universe communicates with us and encourages us. And I'm not doing it, and I need to do it. So, I love Kauai. God, my heart just feels so. Oh, it is such a magical vortex. So yeah, so that was that. That was it. It was a generational thing. That's just the way it was, and it was just such a good reminder of that's just the way it was, way it is for some people. Just helping remind me to show compassion, but also still, for me, it's okay to have boundaries. It's okay not to talk to somebody that yells at me because I am sensitive and I don't like it. So, yes, he's family, but I don't like it. And then it was also funny because I was talking about how like my dad and my mom do everything together. They're never apart. It's weird. And he goes, "That's not weird. That's just the way it was for that generation." He was like, "And my grandparents did everything together." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're right." And I was like, "My grandparents did too." My grandma even told my grandpa, who I think it was a stroke that he had, and he was in the hospital for a while. And, so like he was thinking about peacing out, right? But my grandma was still in good health at the time. She literally, and I was there for this, and it was great. She literally told my grandpa, this is my grandma Rose, my mom's parents, literally told Tom Dealing, her husband, "Don't you dare die before me. I'm going to be so mad at you. You better not die before me or I'm going to kill you." Like, I thought it was funny, right? And it's true. They were just so enmeshed, so bonded, and that's just the way it was. And that's just the way it is with my parents. So it's teaching me how to just kind of unconditionally love and accept my parents as well. And then also recognize that it's okay, though, for me on my journey to be like, no, I don't want to get yelled at. No, I don't want to get hit. No, I don't want to do that to these lovely beings. So, thanks for joining me and Lily today. I'm going to enjoy my spaghetti. I love y'all.